multimodal transports. And my name is J.A. Kritiku, right? Those of you, how many of you here took part in the certificate program? Certificates, and you know me, all right? Right. I also lecture in the certificate level in transportation, all right? Okay, so the other things you see there are my qualifications, which means that I've also read a lot. It doesn't also mean that I know everything, all right? There are some things I'm going to learn from you, but I won't tell you when I'm learning from you. I'll only add it to my knowledge, all right? Never make a mistake. Your lecturers don't know everything, but at least they know more than you know. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in engineering from K University. I also have an MBA from the School of Administration, that is University of Ghana Business School, and then MSc from the World Maritime University in Malmö, Sweden. And I'm a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers of the United Kingdom. So I've read a lot, but I don't think I know everything. At least I have command over what you are going to do for now. All right, so what is multimodal transport? Yes. The simplest definition you can get is that multimodal transport is the carriage of goods by more than one mode of transport under a single contract. This is the easiest definition you can get for multimodal transport. It means that when you talk about multimodal transport, it means that you are going to transport goods from one point to another using more than one mode of transport. A mode of transport is just a means of transport. Okay? By road, there are so many ways by which we can transport cargo or goods. Now, some of the words are interchangeable. Cargo, goods, freight, they are all the same. All right? Yes, so in transporting goods from one point to the other using two different means of or two different modes of transport, okay, under a single contract, which I will explain later, is what we call the multimodal transport. So let's assume that you are transporting goods from, let's say, Accra to Kumasi, and you use a train from Accra to Nsawam, and then you use a truck from Nsawam to Kumasi. You are using what? Two different modes of transport. If the journey is organized by one contractor or only one person handling the whole chain, then we say that it is a multimodal transport. Okay? Now, if the same goods are transported by truck from here to Nsawam, and then from Nsawam to Kumasi, okay, another truck, but still being handled by one operator, it is not a multimodal transport because the mode is the same. I hope you understand that. And the four common modes of transport we are going to tackle now is road, sea, rail, and what? Air. There are other modes by which we can transport goods. Who can tell me some of the uncommon ones? Yes, anything you know. Pipelines, what again? Drone. Again, what again? And there's even spacecraft and all those things, they are all means by which we can transport. But the four common ones we are going to study here are air, road, rail, and what? Water. Are you with me? Right. I'm using water because we will be talking about sea transportation and then inland waterway transportation. These are all, this is combined and this can be classified as transportation by water. Okay? All right. So that's the simplest definition you can get for multimodal transport. And it is handled under a single contract means that only one operator is organizing the whole chain. Okay, so if you actually hire a truck from here to Isahom, you pay the operator off, and then from Isahom to Kumasi, let's say it goes by rail, a different operator, and you pay that person off. It does not constitute a multimodal transport because you have more than one operator or one contractor handling the entire chain of transports. Now, what I want you to do is that I'm going to really give you the slides, so don't worry your head to be writing unless you don't see something on the board and you feel you want to write, then you can go ahead and write it. But I'm going to give it to you on Thursday. First of all is you listen, all right, so that you get the understanding, the foundation very well before I give it to you on Thursday. And you will be doing a class test on Monday. That's next week Monday. Okay, class test on Monday. And then when I finish with you next week Thursday, you'll be submitting an assignment. Okay, so the assignment will be given to you on Thursday, and then you will bring it on Thursday the following week. That will be the end of our program, our lecture. All right. Now, if you don't understand anything, call my attention and let me try and clarify it, okay, for you. I hope the definition is very straightforward. Okay. Now, if you miss my lecture, if you miss one of my lectures, the following day you'll be hot because it will be difficult for you to follow. Okay. So try as much as possible to be present and be here on time. Now, when you are late and you are entering, don't greet me. Then number two, when you are late, you don't ask any question in the class for that day because I don't want you to retard the progress of the class. So these are very simple things. You are big guys, so that's the way I have to handle you. When I was teaching a couple years in Tech, after my national service, those were young guys, so and they were stubborn, more stubborn. So I had to be more stubborn than they were. I was teaching mathematics, core and electric maths, and when they are late, they stand outside for the 80 minutes and listen to mathematics. Alright? And then the following day, those who are outside will be the first to be in the room. But you are home, so your punishment will be don't greet me and then don't ask any questions. And that is sufficient enough. Alright, so let's move on. Alright. Now, we are going to look at other definitions, okay? I hope you have heard about United Nations. What is United Nations in general? What do you know about United Nations? Yes, anybody? Those who didn't read the face my or tomorrow bring it. If you don't bring tomorrow, I'll start straight. Now, who knows something about the United Nations? What is the United Nations? What organization is that? Yes. Meanwhile, I'm lecturing you, a lot of things will come in. Geography will come in. Some kind of politics will come in. And sometimes some religion will also come in. Okay? They all make you whole. It's holistic, approach. I don't only pump destiny into your head. By the time you leave my lecture hall, there will be so many things you have learned. Right, what is United Nations? What organization is that? You have all been to GHS, SHS, first degree diploma, certificate. You know something? Normally, first day I don't lecture too much. I do introduction, but I want the students, the whole classroom to be filled, and they will do the introduction. Okay, so today is just an introduction, but I will do this until they all come so that we can introduce ourselves. Good. So United Nations, what is it? Well, if there's no volunteer, then I will call because I know everybody here should know something about the UN. All right, gentlemen, what is UN? United Nations. Sit down. Oh, relax.
Countries who come together to discuss affairs.
Countries, they just got up one day, came together and discuss affairs. have an idea. Who else can add something to it? Yes, gentlemen.
Is all the nation of the world who come together after the World War II to maintain some kind of stability at different levels worldwide.
I'll accept it. United Nations is an organization, international organization, formed among nations of the world after the Second World War of 1939 to 1945. So it was formed on 24th October 1945. And it has so many components: the health sector, the education sector, you know, and so when it comes to transportation, they also have a role to play in there. All right? All right, so the UN has so many bodies. One specialized agency under the United Nations that handles sea transportation or water transportation is the International Maritime Organization. How many of you have heard that name before? IMO. When you learn maritime transport or sea transport, you get to know that. Okay? All right, so the United Nations Convention on International Multimodal Transport of Goods, MT. Now, what you are doing when you are dealing with transportation, you will meet certain words which you need to understand. One of them is convention. Okay, convention is not church members from the Church of Pentecost meeting at Ashama, doing the Easter, and then doing some crusade. Convention is an international agreement, okay, that have been approved by the United Nations, which countries can adopt to use, and if you want to use, you only incorporate them into your laws, and then you use it, so long as you are a member of the United Nations. Remember that not all the countries in the world are members of the United Nations, but majority, over 90% of them are part of the United Nations. So take note of that. So the convention simply means international agreement sanctioned or designed by the United Nations, okay, for regulating trade.